Okay, now a thing happens, and now I'm gonna stop falling asleep while I'm streaming. I feel something very, very powerful. Is it the Chaos Heart? Bleh, eh. I see you've come at last. So you really are the hero of the light prognosticus. Count Black. But you are far too late to stop the dark prognosticus and me, Count Black. All worlds will soon end. Come to grips with that now, for you cannot stop it. I suggest you make yourself comfortable and enjoy this one final spectacle. But why? Do you really want to destroy everything? Why would you do this? How could you do this? Count Black does not care about any world. They are all meaningless. Better that I destroy them. Better yet, I shall make it as if they never existed at all. If the worlds have no meaning, was our meeting meaningless as well? Answer me, Bluemere. You know the answer, dear Timpani. Count Black does not have to tell you. But the hour has grown too late. You should know that by now. Bluemere. My love, Bluemere. Or rather, Count Black. The only way we can stop this is to defeat you. And that is exactly why Mario and I have come here. To stop this. Very well. But I will also do what I must. Count Black is the deleter of worlds. My fate is written in the dark prognosticus. Do not think for a moment that I will hesitate to strike you down. All now ends. Bluemere, my Bluemere. Leave me, Anastasia. I will deal with these two alone. But Count Black demands it. I will not say it again. Yeah, right away, Count. Are you prepared, hero? Our duel will be worthy of the last clash the world will ever see. Give me a moment here to do a quick save there, and then I can restart right from here if I fail, because I have a feeling I'm probably not gonna get this first try. So, oh, and then the remix of the theme that we were hearing up to this point. So, I don't know. To move a bit faster, and then, oh. Hold on. This, please. That's Count Black. This dark figure wants to destroy the universe. He was once Bluemere, a man that I loved. XP is 150, attack is 8. He will use all the powers the Chaos Heart grants him. But you can beat him if you give it your all, and beat him you must, for the sake of all worlds, and to save the Bluemere I loved. Okay, that doesn't actually tell me how to do damage, which was the thing that I was kind of hoping for, I'm gonna be honest. Okay, there's gonna be a thing that happens here anyway. How laughable! Is that all the heroism you can muster? Let me show you true power. Our attacks aren't doing anything. It's being shielded by the Chaos Heart. Okay, well, give me a moment to turn that back on. So, just keep on doing it until it auto-advances the thing. I don't know. There we go. That's enough time to, like, get to the next cutscene, so. You can't so much as tug on the cape of Count Black. You have failed. Mario, your attacks aren't working at all. Black, I expected more potency from the hero of prophecy. I will watch your game end, and then your precious worlds will end soon after. I'm also just now realizing that I didn't have this quite full screen like that. Oops. Took me a moment to realize that. Is this the end? Who's this? I assume that's gonna be our teammates coming together. Oh, come on. You're giving up already? I'm gonna take a guess that's Bowser. He was the first one that we left behind. Oh my, I actually guessed it right. Come on, man up a little. You never give up this easy when you attack my castle. So you are alive then. We would never let you destroy everything, you awful Count. Yeah, you You tell him, Princess. We aren't going to let you get away with this. We aren't giving up. You'll never win. You're all here. But how? I fell through the floor before I got flattened by the ceiling. I fell through too, and landed right on Bowser. It was a surprisingly soft landing. I don't even know what happened, bro, but the princess found me out cold. But we're all here now, so let's do this. You heard him. Now you've got to deal with all of us. The 4 heroes are united. It's all as foretold. What? What's this? This sound effect. What if... I recognize this sound effect from some other games. Like, I know there's a lot of games and media that will use, like, the same kind of sound effects. What do I recognize this sound effect from? My brain is telling me that it's, like, right before some sort of laser fires. I don't know. But I swear I recognize this sound effect from somewhere. What is happening to Count Black? The power of all the hearts, the pure hearts. With the power of love. Break the shit out of his shield. My barrier is gone. 4 heroes unite. Their hope burns forth light to shatter the walls of blight. Just like Merle said. So be it, says Count Blick. But don't celebrate just yet. Your precious words aren't safe until my last breath. Let us finally end this. Now the true battle begins with Count Blick. So, let me now do a save again now that this is like really where we're starting. So just in case I lose, I have like a better place to restart from. Rather than have to go through all those cutscenes again. Okay, let's see here. So just jump on you and stuff. Like that. It seems like I can maneuver around better with this platform, so I'm just gonna keep on doing this. Wait a second. Can I zoom with this same platform with Bowser to like, do I have the same degree of maneuverability? I do go pretty fast with it, and he's gonna be hitting harder. Ooh. Okay, hold on. What? I guess I can like move away from it while I'm being pulled in, but I can like do so in the air on this. Okay, yeah, so I may as well do this with Bowser. That sounded like it was to my left. Yep. Okay, so like, there we go. I gotcha. So Bowser's definitely the way to go here. Uh-oh. Okay, come on. Uh-oh. That's not what I want to see. No, that is really not what I want to see. Okay, okay. Okay, I bonked my head there. Okay, just don't get caught by that. Do not. Okay. Really? Okay. Man. Do that. And then that sounded like it was to my right. If I can, okay, that counted as a... Okay, I'm honestly surprised. Just a little bit surprised. That sounded like it was to my left. Okay. Blah. Excellent. Count? You have won. Now finish, Count Blick. Dispatch me and the Chaos Heart will disappear. Prophecy will be undone. Why does it have to end like this? Timpani, when you vanished, I searched long for you. I never gave up looking. I searched and searched. But I never found you. Without you, the world held no meaning or joy. So I used the forbidden prophecy of the tribe of ancients to end all worlds. I wanted to destroy everything that had taken you away from me. I'm here now. No one can keep us apart anymore. Don't you see? It is too late. Count Bleck has done so much evil. It must end. Just knowing that you are still alive, and knowing that the world you still live in will continue, it gives me peace. I do not have long to live. You must end my game before the void destroys all. But we're finally together again. Count, look out! Nastasia! Silly assistant, absorbing my attack to protect him. What an adorably hopeless gesture. I was about to give him the everlasting peace he so desperately wants. Dementio? You're alive? Of course, this is my moment. Even if the Count dies, the Chaos Heart won't disappear if I continue to control it. But I needed the power of the Pure Hearts to beat him. I couldn't do that on my own. So I had you do all of the sweaty labor for me. And you even used your Pure Hearts to defeat Count Bleck. If they make greeting cards to thank people for helping with evil plans, I owe you one. What are you saying? I'm saying that you no longer have value to me, so I'm ending your games. They're all yours, Mr. L. Why am I flapping my arms? Oh, this isn't good. I am Mr. L. Master Dementio, what is your bidding? When did this happen? When I sent Luigi here, I planted a seed in the fertile soil of his unconsciousness. And now that seed has sprouted spectacularly. Mr. L, run along now and get ready for your big entrance. Now, ladies and gentlemen, get ready for the greatest magic show you'll ever see. What? Green! What? Luigi? Was that Peach? That might have been, I thought that was Bowser. The Dark Prognosticus says he's the ideal host for the power of the Chaos Heart. And now I'm going to add my own power to this spicy little concoction. No, stop! Count Bleck, you look so tired and pathetic. I nearly forgot about you. I'll squeeze the life out of you later. Just wait over in that dimension, okay? Great. Nom nom. Tasty. Now the Chaos Heart is mine! I will use this to destroy all worlds. To create perfect new ones. Maybe this will just be Dementio's tone in there rather than a Luigi sounding thing from the overall thing. I don't know. So shall we get started? Now I have all I need to become the king of all worlds. It might well be time to do a save again here, is what I'm thinking. So let's see. Let's just go ahead and do a save there really quickly. What got me even? Hold on. Can I not? Alright, I can't have a look-see there. What the heck? I want to have a look-see and get, like, info on my foe that I'm facing here. But, here, if I just load the, just go right from here. How about? What? Really? Oh my god. Huh? Okay, am I sure that I can't just, like... Okay, I'm now invincible. There's nothing you can do. And now it is time for the destruction to begin. Let begin with you as you wallow in helplessness like upside-down turtles. L-Power. Oh. The worlds tremble. Has the end finally come? How unfortunate. Kind of reminds me of the final battle sequence of the 1,000-Year Door. That's what it reminds me of. We have to do something. We have to save Mario and the others. Alright, that's why I couldn't analyze. You were sent here. We cannot. Without the pure hearts, there is no way to counter the Chaos Heart. All we can do is give up. What are you saying? You promised we would find happiness together. Is that all just a lie? It was no lie. But without the pure hearts, all worlds are doomed. What can we do? Lumir, snap out of it! How can you think it would end here, after all we have suffered without each other? We found each other again because we stayed alive! How can you admit defeat? I will not give up. You promised we'd find happiness. You promised! Who's this? That's right, Count! My minions, how did you find us here? Gosh, I could follow your big smile anywhere, Count. She lies like a wee rug, this lass. Nastasia told us, Count. She said you'd come here. Or she said she felt you'd be here, or something along those lines. Nastasia? Talk about going the extra mile. She even sacrificed herself to save you. Listen, Count, I promised me life as well. I'm not afraid to live up to it. So, you gotta let me help. Yeah, I mean, there's no way Dementio's getting away with this. He pulled a really dirty trick on you, but will always stick by your side. My loyal minions. Give them back some color. I don't know if pressing A there is what advanced it, but... What's this? Pure hearts? But why? Isn't it obvious, Bloomier? Pure hearts are the very feelings of our souls. As long as we feel love, they live on. I will take these to Mario. Let's stop wasting time and finish this, shall we? Ciao! What? What's going on? No! The pure hearts? I thought you wasted them all fighting Count Black! I mean, wasted them all. You think that they would be consumed when we did the thing there? What's happening? I'm not invincible anymore. Oh! Oh! Digging the music so far. Now's our chance. The pure hearts have given us power. Let's get him. Chippy, you might be right. Come on, let's jump him. Okay. Now, this is the point that I gotta save from. So now, like, true final boss time. And I am so tired. I don't know what slot I just saved to, but one that's most recent here. At 9:04. Okay. I gotta concentrate here. Here, wrong button there. Extra movement speed and stuff. Wow. If I could please get out of here. I don't know. I am having, like, sleepiness catching up with me at times. What the heck? What? I was about to say, so worth it. So worth. Hold on. Okay, hold on. I'll be able to move faster like this. Okay. Yeah, I think that bit in the side there did a lot of work. God. How did you do it? How could I have lost with the power of Luigi and the Chaos Heart? And the prophecy. Has it been undone? I think your prophecy was wrong all along. You believed your prophecy. We believed in mopping the floor with you. Not moping. I can't words. Nothing's decided entirely by fate, you know. All things determine their destinies. Goodbye now, Dementio. We'll add a footnote to the prophecy about your failure. You think this is the end? This isn't finished. You can't stop this now. You can't escape. I've been saving one last surprise. Ciao! Eh? Huh? What am I doing here? So it seems the end of our worlds is really upon us. So defeating Dementio wasn't enough to stop it? I thought the Chaos Heart would disappear if the person controlling it fell. Dementio must have left behind a shadow of his power to continue controlling it. It won't last long, but maybe enough to ensure the end of every world. Oh great, so what do we do now? There's only one thing left that we can do. That is quite the door. This way. That's a lot of stairs it's drawing. So... So go up there or something, I guess? I don't know. Eh, I remember this place. Timpani, do you still love me? Yes, Blumir. Of course I do. Then you must come with me. Hey, Count. What are you doing? We will use the pure hearts again. This time to banish the Chaos Heart. All we need is true love, and that is something I'm lucky enough to possess. But with the Chaos Heart gone, the pure hearts and those linked to them, they may cease to exist. You mean you might go away? But I don't want you to go. All of this is my fault. The price is mine to pay. I do not have long to live anyway. But you, Timpani. It pains me to know this may cut your game short. Still, there's no other way to end this. I know, Blumir. I know. Timpani. Don't say another word. As long as I'm with you, nothing else matters. Wow, it's happening! I assume that's Luigi there. We must go, Timpani. Yes, Blumir. There were so many things I wanted to say to you, but I could not find the words. Oh, Blumir, only one thing matters to me now. I never had the chance to return your question. Blumir, do you still love me as well? Of course. I've thought about you every moment since you disappeared. but I have caused you so much suffering. Perhaps my life would have been more carefree without you. That is true. But I had to be with you, Timpani. I will never apologize for that. I know, Bloomier. And I love you. And I love you, Timpani. Hundreds of thousands of years from now, that fact will not have changed. It was during the later, like, black background, just text cutscenes, that I realized that it was these two. I do wonder when I cut this up into parts later, not today, if I should rewatch those cutscenes that'll now be recontextualized and really know which characters it's talking about. Like, watch a cutscene at the end of each chapter. I think it's at the end of each chapter that it happens. Everything's shaking! Are we too late? Wait, can you hear that? Who's that? I hear bells. How lovely. The bells are giving their blessing to Tippy and Bleck. Ugh. I was looking at him after he said, as opposed to, like, the whole screen. So I saw, like, the white fading in. I was so laser focused on him that I thought he was starting to, like, fade out. Not the whole screen. That's what happens when you're as sleep deprived as I am. This might be the most sleep deprived I've ever been in my life. Potentially. Either this or Extra Life 2024. Timpani, do you remember the promise we made to each other that day? Yes, I remember. If there was a place where we could be happy together, we would find it. Will you come with me to that place now? Lumia, of course. I will always be with you. Bro. Big bro. You awake, bro? Greatly been bog monkeys. Nastasia, she draws breath once again, lads. Nastasia, hey Nastasia, miracle of miracles, grand googly era. I'm alive? Mario, check it out. The void is closing. Who's saying this? Yes, it's proof that the prophecy of destruction has not come to be. I assume that that's... Yep. And all worlds have been saved. The prophecy has lost its power. Thusly, the world that was lost returns to normalcy. You have done well, heroes. It is all thanks to you. But where's Tippy? I see. So she is gone. Ah, this too must have been under the guidance of the pure hearts. Both Tippy and Count Bleck gone. What could have happened to them? I shudder to think about it, but surely when the prophecy was nullified... No, they're alive. Yeah, they're finally united. They overcame time and fulfilled their old vows. Somewhere the Count is living together with Tippy in, happiness. And Count, no! I'm all alone! What am I to do now? And now, me with Nastasia. I'm believing the Count is still alive too. And if he is alive, lass, we wouldn't want to be shaming him with blubbering. Pull it together, eh? He's right, Nessie. We still have each other. We can still build the Count's world. So come on, big smile. Oh, Chucks. Me. You're right. Yeah, I can't just sob like this forever. The Count would never have approved. We have to create the ideal world that, the Count wished for in his heart. A world of love, not war. Yeah, let's all pencil that in. An appointment of hope. Farewells are bittersweet, but as long as you live, you can never escape them. Feel sadness is to live, but as long as you are alive, future is a blank page. And with that, I'm hungry. I've asked Saffron to make some of her celebrated snacks for us. Let us heal our weariness by devouring a banquet of sumptuous sweets. Oh yeah, that is a plan. Make a path. Merlin, what is it? Princess Peach. I'm thinking of Lady Timpani. I wonder if she truly is happy now. Of course she is. Oh, yes, of course. Well, let's have at those snacks. So the dark prophecy was averted, and peace reignited. Dark Prognosticus again faded into history. Count Bloomier and his love, Lady Timpani, both vanished. Where did the pair go? None know. And so the story of the lost book of prophecies comes to an end. The prophecy that I would finish it during MegaLAN Day 3. May we meet again in another time and place. So, that was Super Paper Mario. Hello, Snow Penguin. Yeah, so with Paper Mario here, MegaLAN was supposed to wrap up at like 2. I know that they typically wrap up a little bit earlier. They started like pulling things at like 12:45, so I had to wrap up then. If I bum rushed through, this stream was an hour and a half. I probably could have wedged it in. It would have been close doing it like at actual MegaLAN. But drove home, did stuff with family, had dinner, set this up, and I finished it off. So I can still say I finished this on MegaLAN Day 3, even if, you know, I had 2 bosses left to go. 1 boss and then like the final boss. I guess you could say 3 bosses, because like there's the fake out final boss and like the real final boss. But basically almost done. So I just wanted to finish that here. This might be the most sleep deprived I've ever been. You know, sometimes after a long session of streaming, while I'm lying in bed and trying to sleep, I'll be stuck in this like half awake, half asleep state where I'm dreaming in this half asleep state that I'm still streaming somehow. And so like I'm lying in bed like trying to sleep, but I'm trying to like be entertaining and I'm being self-conscious about how I sleep, whatever the heck that means. It's some weird thing that gets stuck in my head when I've been streaming for too long and then I go to sleep. This time it was kind of the opposite. I've never had this happen before. Well, maybe I have, where like I just start like dozing off like that while I'm in the middle of gaming. Like again, most recent time would have just been Game Day Extra Life 2024 right here. Like that was definitely a recent time. But I feel like that section of going through like the last level leading up to the final boss took me so much longer than it would have otherwise, because I kept dozing off and thinking that like I still knew that I was streaming, but I was getting like weird visions of like other things appearing there, like an enemy with this name or like a character saying this thing or something like that would just pop into my head. I'd be replying to that, and man, this is gonna sure look like something when I look back at that part there. Where I'm just here murmuring to myself random gibberish that doesn't make sense without the context of whatever was going on in my head in the moment. And of course what's going on in my head in the moment is going to be like forgotten moments after, because it's like this weird dream state. So yeah, that whatever part that is, when I cut this up into parts, that is, going to be one of the, wackiest parts I've probably ever had, because I had to catch myself multiple times. Just wake up, like, half asleep, murmuring to myself. I'm going right to bed after this. It is currently 9:20 p.m. Again, I was initially up at like 7. I tried to rest my eyes a little bit more until like 8 p.m. I went to bed at like 5 in the morning, so I got less than 3 hours of sleep the past 2 nights in a row. And I've been awake more than 24 hours. So, you know, assuming that I woke up at 7 or even 8, assuming that I was able to sleep for like another solid hour, which I know that I wasn't, already at 9:20 p.m. here. I've been awake for more than 24 hours, and I'm running on less than 3 hours of sleep 2 nights in a row. So, I am not feeling great. So, yeah, this is certainly quite the feeling. But I did it. The prophecy has been completed. I finished what I set out to do at MegaLAN 2025. So, Super Paper Mario, if I can give my review without dozing off here. It was a lot easier to stay engaged during the final boss and stuff, where I'm more actively doing something as opposed to just like running through corridors trying to find the way forward, where I was constantly dozing there. I'm gonna be honest, while I was reading like the lines for that final cutscene and stuff, here and there, I would be dozing slightly. I have to catch myself while my camera was off there. But, you know, got through it. Hopefully I didn't miss anything there. Because, yeah, current mental state is certainly something. So, Super Paper Mario. Again, I never played this as a kid because I played the shit out of Thousand Year Door, and I saw that this was nothing like Thousand Year Door, and I was like, oh, that doesn't really look all that interesting. I want my RPG game. If they had made a game in the style of Thousand Year Door on the Wii, I absolutely would have picked it up, and I would have gone ham on it, and I probably would have really liked it as a kid/early teen. But when I saw what this was, I just never really had much interest in it. I was like, oh, that's a game that exists, and it, you know, as part of the Paper Mario series that game Thousand Year Door that I like so much is tied to, but I'm not really that interested. It's just too different. So I never picked it up. Now that I've played through it, I think if I had picked this up as a kid, I might have liked it. There's a good chance that I probably would have liked it, but nowhere near as much as Thousand Year Door. And if I wanted to like replay a Paper Mario game, I would have just gone to Thousand Year Door, or gone around to like playing Paper Mario 64 as a kid or something like that. Something that I never got around to back then, but if I want other Paper Mario to play, I could see myself hopping into that, because it's similar to Thousand Year Door and all that. I still think that Thousand Year Door is my favorite Paper Mario game. This, I think, gameplay is not exactly its strong suit. I do think that it is an interesting novel idea, where the game is mostly 2D, but you can switch to face the other way, and it's like 3D. You're turning the camera the other way, your character's facing the other way, and the world changes. You're able to make use of the environment in different ways. I think that's a cool idea, but I just don't really like the execution here. With the 3D there, you could oftentimes use it to dodge enemy attacks and stuff like that, because they would oftentimes be stuck in their one dimension there. So to compensate for that, they put like the time limit on it that I was trying to pay attention to, and wouldn't want to mess around in the 3D there too long. And so sometimes I'd just be like bum rushing through areas with like 2D, wondering what the heck I missed, how can I not progress, only to find that there was something that I missed if I had just gone 3D along the way. So to be able to find all the things or the potential path forward, to be like checking 3D from time to time, just like, is there a path here? Move on. Is there a path here? Move on. Is there a path here? And keep on turning like that. I, you know, wouldn't be a big fan of that. Or like the hidden things, where it's like there's no door here, but you can point the Wiimote at the screen and select it, and then like the thing that's hidden there that you need to reveal to progress becomes revealed. So sometimes to progress, it would seem like I'm hitting a dead end. I don't know what I missed, and it's either something in 3D that I missed earlier, when I can't just run around in 3D all the time because of the time limit there, so I just have to check it from time to time, and stopping my movement completely to point the Wiimote at the screen to see if there's anything hidden over here in some cases. Like, usually if there's something hidden, it's pretty obvious, like, hey, there's a gap here, is at least the case, as opposed to, like, you know, a random path with 3D. So it's not like I'm going across the entire level looking for, like, a hidden thing, pointing my Wiimote at the screen, but still, like, required a little bit of searching, and not, like, a meaningful kind of, like, I track that down search, like, oh, let's just dick around until I happen to find the thing that I'm looking for here. Played both Thousand Year Door and this game as a kid, and like both, but Thousand Year Door more. Fair enough there. So I think it was an interesting idea, but as I was saying earlier in the playthrough, it kind of reminds me of what I said about Mario vs. Donkey Kong on the Switch. I never played any of the Mario vs. Donkey Kong games, never played the Game Boy Advance original, so I don't know if this is the case. I've only played the remake of the Game Boy Advance original on the Switch. But that game, I described it as, it kind of combined the elements of 2D Mario and, like, puzzle-solving elements into, like, one mishmash. But in doing so, neither one was able to, like, fully embrace itself, like, to the highest degree. And so you just get, like, a really toned-down version of a Mario platformer and a really toned-down version of a puzzle game, is what it kind of felt like. Where, rather than getting, like, the best of both worlds combined, it kind of has to tone down both worlds in order to get them to mishmash well together. That's kind of what it felt like the gameplay of this was when it came to, like, RPG mechanics and Mario 2D platformer. Where, you know, we're doing RPG mechanics so that we kind of have some connection to the Paper Mario 64 and Thousand Year Door, I guess. But I don't think that the RPG mechanics necessarily make this a better game per se than it just going like full in on being like a 2D Mario platformer game where you can just play as multiple characters that have like some different abilities and stuff. Like there are multiple times where in a boss battle there's walls on the side and I would want to like run over and do like a wall jump over as the boss is coming over this way and run to the other side and get ready to counterattack, stuff like that I can do in the 2D Mario games. But instead, I'm either, like, very slowly walking back and forth trying to dodge, or maybe I just play as Peach and hold down so I get the shield, and, you know, that was the easiest way to go about it. So, it was just very much simpler in comparison, and a lot of mechanics that you would have in something like a regular Mario game, like Ground Pound, or things like the previous Paper Mario games, like a hammer, stuff like that. They are abilities that you unlock, but you can only assign one at a time. So, it would be nice if there was a way to, like, assign multiple buttons to do multiple different things, as opposed to just having one button that serves as, like, your all-ability button. It's kind of like Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom in that sense, where it's like you unlock all these different abilities, all these different echoes that you can summon, but you only have, like, one button, so you have to, like, go into the menu and switch it out every time you want to use something different. I do get the reason why, if it's done with, like, a sideways Wiimote. So it's like you have your D-pad, you have the A button here next to the D-pad, I guess, and then you have, like, 1 and 2 that you're using over here. So you have, like, 2 for jump, and then 1 is your action button. And, like, points at the screen, and then hit A, and that does things there. Oh, and, like, A is being a regular button as well, being the, thing that switches from 2D to 3D. So you're already using, like, all the buttons on a sideways Wiimote. But if there was, like, a control scheme for this game that was, like, Wiimote plus Nunchuck, and then you could assign... Would it be all that many more buttons? Because if you have Wiimote here and Nunchuck here, then it's, like... I guess you can have, like, the different directions of the D-pad. You have A and B, and then, like, the 2, triggers on the Nunchuck. So I guess when you account for, like, the different directions of the D-pad, you can have more. So maybe there would be a possible control scheme where it's, like, you assign different abilities to, like, different directions of the D-pad or something like that, and that would be nice. So it does feel rather limiting, only having, like, one ability at a time, and things like Ground Pound that I kind of instinctually try to do by going into the air and pressing down and not having happen, are the ability button when I can only have, like, one ability at a time. It just feels kind of odd, not fully embracing some of those Mario mechanics / Paper Mario mechanics with, like, the hammer and stuff like that. To the point that I never really use it all that much, because I could only have one equipped at a time. But again, I get it when it's a sideways Wiimote and all that, but maybe something could have been done with Wiimote and Nunchuck or something like that. I don't know. Being able to play as different characters was kind of cool. So the previous Paper Mario games had, like, you play as Mario and you have, like, different partners, different companion characters in your party, with always, like, one following you and helping you in battle at a time. This one is just like, hey, here's 4 playable characters, which each have something unique to them. And so it was cool to be able to adventure across the land, like, playing as Luigi, Peach, Bowser, and such, and doing stuff unique to them. I did like that. But, this kind of connects story-wise. I'm just gonna say things here mishmash because my brain's gonna malfunction otherwise with how sleep-deprived I am. I do wish story-wise that it felt like they were more of a squad. It still felt mostly like it was Mario, and then, like, the others just kind of show up from time to time in cutscenes to remind you that they're there. You don't really have, like, the party talking amongst themselves as a group all that much about what's going on. You have Merlon, like, talking to them, and then, like, different members of the party will answer him at different times.
just to show that, like, hey, there's party contribution, but you never really have, like, the party really talking with one another or anything like that, so it didn't really feel like a party. So I'd be mostly playing Mario because, like, he's the one with, like, the most important mechanics, switching to 3D and such, and I would just kind of forget that I would have other characters in my party, that it wasn't just, like, a solo Mario plus Tippy kind of game. So when they appear in other cutscenes, it's like, oh yeah, these guys are here, I forgot about that. So it is cool that that other characters are here and such, but a lot of the time I'd have to be on Mario anyway because of these being able to switch to 3D. Yeah, the whole jump on enemies multiple times thing based on, like, your damage because of RPG mechanics and all that, where it's like we have health, we have your own damage that goes up as you get score. I assume the score was, like, meant to be similar to, like, the 2D Mario platformers, where it's like you have, like, a score in, like, the top left corner, I think it is, that slowly builds up as you continue your save file. But now we have a score, like, right center middle of the screen and at the top there. So that's signifying your EXP, you reach different score thresholds and you level up and stuff like that. But I feel like it could have just been something like a 2D Mario in a corner kind of thing, rather than being like this big centerpiece thing at the top middle of the screen at all times. Like, it's not that important for me to see the score constantly, like, front and center there. Like, it could have absolutely been relegated to a corner or some such. So it felt like it was meant to be, like, very prominent, and that this score is something that you should be, like, really, really caring about. It's something that you should push for. I mean, that, like, there's ways to be getting more score, like the speed up and the slow down flower and the stars and stuff like that. So clearly they wanted the score to be a really big thing. But honestly, as I was playing, I would just, like, forget about it, and as I'm defeating enemies from time to time, it's like, oh, I leveled up, I got enough score there. I wasn't really paying attention to it because, like, what does it really matter ultimately? So it just kind of took up UI space for no good reason, I feel like. The jumping on enemies multiple times based on your attack power there. Yeah, in a platformer game, jumping on enemies multiple times where as you jump on them, it kind of pushes you off in a direction. Especially, like, during that last bit there, when an enemy is on, like, a tiny little gap that's, like, that wide and the enemy's, like, this big, and you're trying to land on the platform, so you jump on the enemy, and then it, like, bumps you into the cliff as punishment for jumping on them. So that would be really annoying. Or if there's a bunch of enemies around, you try to jump on one, and instead of continuing your momentum like a normal kind of 2D Mario game, it bounces you off, and maybe you fly into another guy, and then you take damage because that's just the direction that you kind of flew and weren't able to account for fast enough. Or the fact that despite this being like a console game, you have a TV screen with lots of space, the amount of stuff that you're seeing on screen at once is not a massive ton. And so sometimes I'd be running towards a side of the screen where I only see, like, a tiny little smidge of what's to come, and I just don't have enough time to react to an enemy that turns out to be there. Like, oh, there's a platform that's on the... Can you see my mouse cursor? Here, you can see my mouse cursor. Let's say there's a platform that you see, like, right here, so you can't even see the top. The top is off screen. So I jump for it, and it's like, surprise, there's an enemy, like, right there, and then I take damage and I fall off, and then maybe I've fallen off even farther, and it's like, oh, great, that, I didn't have that information. It's just like, surprise, there's a guy there, like, dealing with random ambush spawns in a Fire Emblem game. It's just like, oh, surprise, you didn't have that information before. So, you know, I would find that kind of frustrating when it felt like enemies would come out of nowhere. And, because I just, you know, was trying to rush ahead, and then all of a sudden it's like, surprise, enemy too early. And the whole bouncing off them thing, having to jump on them multiple times, and just that mess. I wasn't really a big fan of that. The boss battles were kind of interesting, but I feel like more engaging bosses would have just been like the full-on RPG bosses, like this 64 and Thousand Year Door. Not like the 3-colored chain chomps in this one. That was kind of a funny joke RPG battle there. I just think that would have been a lot more engaging and potentially have me by the ropes in the sense of, like, I'm taking time thinking, like, how do I get out of this? Like, how do I use myself and my partner? As opposed to just, like, try to get these jumps and try to not get hit when some of the hitboxes are really weird, and being one of those games that any contact with the foe at all, if it's not on the top of the head, will damage you. So as you're trying to get the top of the head, if you get something that's just, like, at an angle and not quite the right angle, it's like you take damage on your foot, and it's, you know, it's I can find that really frustrating when it's a boss battle of jumping on them over and over and over again. And if it's not, like, right on top of them, or even just getting close to them, trying to place a bomb or something like that for a Brobot, and, you know, just so much as, you know, slightly scraping me or something like that is going to do the same amount of damage as, like, full-on punching me or whatever the heck. Like, I'm not always the biggest fan of games where there's immediate damage on enemy contact, like, unless it supports the game in a meaningful kind of way. But I feel like that's a more typical kind of 2D Mario thing, not necessarily like an RPG thing, like they try to make this into, and it's just kind of odd, I find. I do wish that between parts of chapters, like chapters 7-1, 7-2, 7-3, you could go back to flip side and like heal up and get items and stuff like that, and then go back to continue the chapter that you were ongoing with. Like, at least starting, like, let's say I was halfway through 7-2 and I went to flip side. Like, sure, then maybe I start 7-2 from the beginning. But it looks like you have to start the entire chapter from the beginning, so you have to make sure that you're stocked up going into each, and, you know, each of them can take a while. The worlds, in terms of their look, were clearly meant to be, like, very unique and very distinct, but when everything feels like the same very basic 2D platforming kind of thing, where I'm just platforming around in a 2D environment, it makes everything feel, like, very samey, and it feels like it takes away its ability to have its own identity as much. Like, in something like Thousand Year Door, the areas are able to have, like, their own distinct identity with, like, the 3D environment that you're moving around and chatting to people in and all sorts of stuff. But when everything here is basically just, like, 2D platforming getting to places that I'm at, and it's just a different color palette each time, it makes it more difficult to really feel it having, like, its own identity. Everything feels like just reskins of the same kind of thing, is what it felt like to me. The only one that felt, like, really different was the Samar Kingdom, Samar, whatever the heck, I don't know, where we're doing, like, the 100 battles up to, like, 20 before it turns out, like, oh, the world is ending here. And that was something that I actually, I guess I can talk about the story there. A good way of subverting expectations, where it's like, one of the worlds actually did fall. First of all, is there anything else that I want to talk about gameplay-wise first? I think that might be the things that I wanted to get covered for gameplay. The main collectibles here are the cards, and I wasn't too particularly interested, but if you really want to increase your damage against certain enemy types, I guess it can matter there. I wasn't a fan of the amount of backtracking in levels, where it's like, you get to the end, and then it's like, oh, turns out you gotta go, like, a whole bunch of the way down the level to find, like, the passage that you missed to get the key, and then come back here, or a lot of situations like that. And, here's a problem that I find with a lot of Mario RPGs in general. This isn't a this game exclusive thing, this isn't a Paper Mario exclusive thing, but something that I find with a lot of Mario RPGs in general is they have you go do things that don't really serve the plot at all, just as, like, a barrier to get to the bit of plot that you actually want to get to. So, take Chapter 7 in this, for example, where it's like, oh no, the bridge is out. Oh, but there's one way we can restore the bridge. We have, like, these 3 special orbs that, when combined, will reconstruct a bridge in this specific spot. So now you're tasked with, like, backtracking and, like, thoroughly exploring the area that you've been to, just to get, like, 3 orbs that let you summon this bridge again. And it's like, okay, yeah, here's a barrier to the thing that I actually want to get to for story, but the actual act of overcoming that barrier isn't a contributing factor to the story. I feel like a well-constructed story should have, like, the elements that you're overcoming as hurdles contribute to the story in some way to keep it engaging. Like, when it literally is just framed as, hey, here's this barrier in a way, go screw off collecting all these things around this area to be able to progress. It doesn't feel like I'm being as engaged with the story anymore. It feels like I'm being forced to go through padding, something that extends the runtime of the game. And sure, some of these sections would use, like, gameplay in different ways that, you know, other sections wouldn't do. They wanted to, you know, design these levels and force the players to go through it. That's completely fine. But I feel like the writers could have potentially done a better job at making it feel like there was some more importance to the overall plot there. Like, we, like, love it, whatever the heck her name was, chatting with the people that give us the orbs there. Maybe that would reveal something about, like, her character and backstory that kind of leads us on to believe that she is, like, a pure heart and stuff like that. And so it kind of contributes to us unraveling a mystery and holds, like, some interesting elements that way, for example. You know, that way there's, like, a little bit of narrative drive as well to getting these, and not just get them all to get, like, the actual next main narrative point. Like, we're actually piecing together, like, oh, is there something going on here? Is she what she thinks she is? And stuff like that. You know, there are ways that you can have this contribute to the story and feel like it's actually something meaningful there. For something that I really liked about the story was, like I was saying before, talking about the kind of gameplay there, was with World 6, I believe it was, the subverting of expectations. Was it World 6? Was it World 7? Pretty sure it was World 6. The subverting of expectations where, like, the world actually does fall. So it's like, okay, generic, we're going out to, like, save all these worlds, go to them and get their pure heart, and then everything is a-okay. But then this one where it's like, we're making progress, we're a fifth of the way through this crazy, like, set of battles, then all of a sudden it's like, oh, surprise, this world is right about to die, the world does die, and now you go in and it's like a completely blank canvas, and you're going across this, like, field of nothingness to get, like, a pure heart that is now just stone in this dead world, and doing, like, the Mr. L boss. Like, that's cool. That subverts expectations, because now the player has been, like, locked into, or not locked into, has been trained, I guess, yeah, essentially trained to believe that it's like, yep, go do the 4 sub-chapters of each chapter, and then you get a pure heart at the end, great, move on to the next world. You've done so many worlds at that point, so that's what you're very much indoctrinated to believe, that's what you're in the rhythm of, and that's what you feel is going to happen. Take Final Fantasy VII, for example, when you go to recruit Yuffie, if you go to, like, the save point there, it turns out it's a fake save point, and then she mugs you and leaves. That is a way of subverting expectations by taking this thing that the player has established as a place of safety, and subverting it into something completely different to, like, take the player off guard. This thing that they thought was safe maybe isn't necessarily safe. It shouldn't necessarily give that comforting feeling, and now it kind of recontextualizes save points like, wait a second. That's what it did here with the worlds, where it's like, alright, every time we go there, we go through the levels, we beat some boss, and then we get a pure heart. That's what goes on. So to completely 180 that, and say, like, we were too late, this world did just die, all the people in it are gone, and we gotta do what we can to see if there's still even any path forward to make this pure heart usable. Like, it really made the circumstances feel a lot more dire. That was when the plot actually truly gripped me, and I was like, ooh, that's cool. That's a cool way of subverting expectations. I like that. So that was interesting there. The Dementio, I believe was his name there, piecing together what's going on with him and his motivations, and like, is he on our side? Is he on his own side? What's going on here? Was definitely kind of interesting as well, with it never being entirely clear, where it's like, okay, clearly trying to act against us, but there's words here implying that, like, there's some faith being held in us. Is that because, like, he wants the count to be overthrown? Is that because, like, he wants to work with us and he's a good guy? Or does he have, like, his own stuff going on here? So I did like how there was some mystery to kind of unravel there, and, like, some clues that you can kind of put together and interpret in different ways. So I did like that about the story. The whole bit with the underwear, with the game overs, and people being like, how do you game over? Was it the spikes? Oh man, I'm so good at my jumps, I wouldn't land on the spikes. No, I fell into a cliff, you know, stuff like that. That's really fun, and just like an interesting way to contextualize the video game format of, like, the game over in this Mario platformer game. Someone is saying, like, oh, they got touched by, like, some enemy or something like that. I think I saw someone say, which is really kind of funny. I really quite liked the idea of that world, where it's just like, when you game over, you're sent there. Like, and who knows what happens if you game over while you're there. Like, that was just kind of fun. So it had its charm in that sense, with the self-awareness of being a video game, and them being able to talk about death in a children/family-friendly game without directly talking about death, calling it game overs and such. So it's like the happy, go fun game format of game overs. There's something like Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Explorers, which will take the approach of, like, we'll make you disappear, stuff like that. Say things like vanish and disappear, instead of saying, like, characters are gonna die, so it's more kid-friendly. But this is one that's, like, kid-friendly and fun, and also uses the format of a video game in a, like, fun way, while also getting what the writers are going for with, like, the game overs and stuff. I like that. The bit with your companion actually having, like, a backstory of her own that was, you know, connected to the count there. I do wish that we could have, you know, seen a little bit more of, like, so Merlin said that she had just, like, showed up one day, like, devoid of all memories and stuff like that. How did that happen? Was that a thing that was established and I didn't notice because I was sleep deprived? Like, how did the two of them end up getting separated there? I think it was like, Blumier's father, like, did something to her and is like, oh, she's not here anymore. She's not of this world. He used, like, his weird dark being powers to, like, send her away. And maybe that's all the information that you need. It would have been cool if there was, like, a cutscene that, like, even at the end or something like that, that showed her, like, first, you know, getting to Berlin and him being like, oh, I'll help you. I'll turn you into a pixel here or something like that. And then it all comes first full circle. Having the villain that is just like, hey, I want to destroy all the things, but that's because, like, I hate these worlds that took this someone from me, but now it's too late to stop that, even if that someone is still around. It's like, you know, there's definitely much better stories that you can tell, but from the perspective of, like, you know, a Mario kind of story, it's like, okay, that's engaging. I'm down for it. Like, I was talking about this during Assassin's Creed Valhalla when it comes to, like, the importance of having an engaging story and just, like, giving me reason and drive to continue playing. And that is Assassin's Creed Valhalla. You have to go around, like, getting friends around England, get new allegiances and stuff like that. And some of them will contribute to, like, a narrative around your playable character, Eivor, and his adopted brother, Sigurd. And that plot line, you know, it's no masterpiece of a plot line or anything, but it's holding my attention, and it's like, okay, when I see this plot line progressing, it's interesting. This is enough to keep me motivated to play this game. If I wasn't a content creator doing a series, I would want to keep playing and see how this story plays out. I am curious. But if I'm doing, like, the other random junk along the way of getting all these other allegiances that the game requires me to get, I don't find that as engaging then anymore. Because then most of the game feels like a bit of a nothing burger, and then I only get, like, little bits and pieces of the plot that I actually care about. That's kind of what it feels like is going on here, where it's like the story with Count Bleck slash Blumir and our companion there, Tippy. It's like, it's not like a masterpiece of storytelling or anything like that. I do think that it does things better than Thousand Year Door, where it's just like, last act, here's the Shadow Queen that's revived by the X-Nauts that want to revive her to, like, rule the world, and then she's, like, big bad final boss. Like, you know, that kind of general premise on its own isn't too interesting. I find that this, what they were going for in this story, is more interesting. I do think that it is better, but I do wish that more of what we were doing around the world did contribute to that overall story and the overall themes of the story. And, just as a way to drive up engagement with me a little bit more. So that's kind of what I feel about the story. So I think I liked it more than Paper Mario 64 and Paper Mario the Thousand Year Door, I will say, because it played with some interesting things, but I wish that there was more of that and less of the, you know, very generic go around, collect all this stuff before you can progress kind of thing. The gameplay of the RPG games is definitely better, I would say. This is, you know, the mishmash where it's like, are we a Mario platformer? Are we an RPG? Are we this 2D, 3D thing, Bob? We're going to combine these elements and not really master any one of them. Earlier in my playthrough, I was talking about how that was kind of like Princess Peach Showtime, where it's like you have all these different little game modes where it's like, this job Peach, this job Peach, this job Peach. But because there's so many different ones, it is very much a generalist and then not really mastering any one thing. And so the game just feels like very generic because of that. Why not having like one specific niche that it's like honing in on that it can really delve into and tackle in a really cool, interesting way. That was what I felt about Princess Peach Showtime, and thinking about it, I think that's why I feel about this game, where it didn't really master any one of the bazillion different things it was going for gameplay-wise, and so it just turned itself into a very generic kind of feeling game. I feel like games, you should try to make them like very specialized and niche if possible for like specific target audiences. Like, I get Mario games and stuff like that. You want it to be available to a general audience, like, as much as you can. But I do also very much understand statements like, you design a game for everyone and that's a game for no one. And that if it's so general and generic, the people that want like this aspect of the game will just go to like a game that is all about that specific aspect. People that want this aspect of your general game will just go to this game that like really fully hones in on that aspect as like its core mechanic. People that want this aspect, like so on and so forth. This game ends up feeling very generic gameplay-wise, where it's like, if I'm playing this because I want to play a 2D Mario platformer, well, I could just play New Super Mario Bros. Wii and get a superior experience. If I want to get, like, an RPG game, where I'm leveling up and stuff with Mario and friends, then I just play Thousand Year Door and pop in a GameCube memory card and get a GameCube controller and play that on my Wii, as I did. I don't know if I would have an alternative for like switching between 2D and 3D games. That's something novel that this game has. But I feel like that on its own wasn't interesting enough to really keep me hooked in. So I feel like overall the gameplay was just very and the mishmash of all these different elements that sometimes didn't really help one another, like the whole platforming and RPG stuff. So did some intriguing things with the story. Gameplay, I'm not really big on it. Felt kind of bland there. Music, I couldn't really tell you much about the music because it was a loud venue, and maybe I should have had my volume turned up louder. From what I could tell, it was serviceable. It did the job for what it needed to, but I don't know if there's anything that I'd be going out and listening to again on my own time. But again, like, loud venue, I don't know how much I was actually hearing, so maybe I can't speak about that. The final boss theme that I was listening to here and using, like, the leitmotif of, like, the Count Bleck cutscene and then, like, the actual, like, intense battle theme version of that. That was cool. I like that. I appreciate when games do stuff like that. And then the graphics is, like, you know, it's fine, I guess, when you're going for a 2D thing that switches to 3D, but I will much prefer the charm of something like Thousand Year Door that is, like, you know, semi-2D in the sense that, you know, you can go in and out of the screen like that, but you can't turn the camera unless you go into, like, a specific area where it turns the camera in keyways, like that kind of 3D, where it feels like there's a real sense of world, a real sense of volume to the world, something like that. I don't know how to describe it. Whereas with, like, the 2D areas here, it was hard to get as much of a sense for the world. And clearly, like, they tried with, like, such different colors and looks for the different worlds, but again, because of them all just being, like, very similar feeling 2D platformer stuff with occasional me going 3D and all that, it made everything just feel very samey is what I kind of felt. But yeah, as someone who played the game at home, I agree with the soundtrack being serviceable rather than memorable like the Thousand Year Door. I like the general sound design in this game just as much. Fair enough there. That do be fair. But yeah, I also can't speak 100% on that because, like, loud venue and I might not have been able to hear it all, like, super great is the case. But yeah, I feel like the art style is, like, fine for what it was for the type of game they were making, but, like, I don't see how you would really make it better for this type of game where it's mostly 2D and sometimes it switches to 3D. But I do think that if I'm playing something like Thousand Year Door, I'll find the charm of that a lot more great because I get a lot greater sense of scale and world in that sense, as opposed to just, like, everything feeling like it's the same flat kind of thing with some different colors is what it kind of felt like here at times. So yeah, across the Paper Mario games that I have played thus far, there's the 3 on the channel that I've done in order of Paper Mario 64, Thousand Year Door, Super Paper Mario, and then, before I ever was a content creator, half of Sticker Star. I think the order that I would put them from, like, highest to lowest from those 4 games would currently be Thousand Year Door, 64, Super Paper Mario, Sticker Star. Down all the way here, Sticker Star. Because, my god, I really don't like Sticker Star. Is that the next one coming up after this? I think it is, isn't it? Because it'd be Sticker Star, then Color Splash, then Origami King, if I'm taking them in order. I'm kind of taking turns between, like, Paper Mario and Mario & Luigi playthroughs, so the next Mario RPG I play on this channel is probably going to be Mario & Luigi Dream Team, will be the next Mario RPG we have coming up. But when I eventually get back to Paper Mario, that means Sticker Star is coming up here. Oh, boy. Not necessarily looking forward to that. I would love to save my progress, thank you for asking. So yeah, overall, interesting experience there. This game definitely did not contribute to, you know, my drowsiness during a lot of it, as was evident during some points. So just out of curiosity, what happens if you load the completed save file? I'm just curious here. Does it put you, like, before the final boss or something, or oh, I just want to, okay. Lets you go here to replay any of the levels. Just a free play. I guess that makes sense. And then you can go to, like, flop side to go to the big door and redo the final boss if you want, I guess. Oh, a rousing success! I worried about Tippy being gone so long, but clearly magical events transpired. It has been a while. Thanks to all of you, this town, and indeed all towns, are now safe. Well, unless they're threatened by something not world-destroying. Please accept my thanks. Now, tell me of Tippy.
Have you heard anything about her at all? I see. Nor have I. It seems no one has seen Tippy at all. But somehow, I can't shake the feeling that she is alive. Yes, alive. Alive and living somewhere happily, I'm sure. Oh, our tale almost seemed to turn sad there for a moment, didn't it? Well, you've been gone so long, there must be many people you still wish to see. Please take your time. I will be at home. Please come by if you feel the urge. Goodbye, my friend. Shimmy, shimmy, shimmy. So, can you not, like, point the Wiimote at the screen for things anymore? Maybe you can get, like, Tippy back and then you can, like, still point at it. Man, the stuff that I wanted to cover was, like, the main game start to finish. If there is, like, post-game of getting Tippy back and, you know, being able to still point at the screen and stuff, it's probably not too important for me to do, I wouldn't think. Also, another thing worth noting. So, Friday was when I started streaming this game for MegaLAN stuff. It is now Sunday at 9:55 p.m., the 1st of June. They're going hard this MegaLAN weekend. When it comes to, like, the whole beard and shaving kind of situation, I mentioned a few times throughout the MegaLAN stuff that I had been meaning to take it off for a while and try, like, clean shaven for the first time in a long time and be like, alright, what do I think of it? And, you know, if I want to grow stuff out again, then I can. Well, I mean, just looking in the mirror the past couple days, so I would have shaved, like, right before MegaLAN, so that would have been, like, the wee hours of, Thursday night. Well, maybe not super wee hours, but, like, it actually was pretty late into the night there. I probably should have gotten to sleep at an earlier time on Thursday to be more prepared for MegaLAN. So it was late Thursday, and already, as I'm looking in the mirror and stuff, like, there's already, like, stubble across, like, everywhere here. So if I actually wanted to just, like, stay clean-shaven, I would need to, like, be doing something about this, like, every other day. Because it is already just coming back. Like, it is... Yeah. It really doesn't take long. So as I've been saying on stream before across the MegaLAN stuff, that, like, oh, if I want to get it again, I can get it again. It really doesn't take that long to grow out. I mean it. It does not take that long to grow out. Like, I've already got, because of the stubble, like, the lines making up where my beard and stash were. And it only took, like, what, 2-3 days? It doesn't take long. So, yeah, I've gone from completely clean-shaven to quite a bit of stubble all around me across this little MegaLAN journey. Oh, I'm happy you made it. How are you feeling? I've been researching this town and other ancient civilizations. I have a feeling that there are hidden hints on how to make this world better. Tippy loved this world. However she is, I know she wishes for its betterment. This world that you saved. We made it. How are you feeling? Yeah, that. Can't interact with the book at all. I'm really curious to just check out what the fortune teller says at this point. I just really want to see. I already saved there, so I can close it, like, right after I do the fortune teller and get some coins back. If I ever want those coins to come back to Super Paper Mario. Probably not, but, you know. Here, sure. You've already done what you have to do. From this point on, you should do whatever you feel is best. Okay, yeah. I was curious there if you would guide me to, like, any specific, like, post-game kind of thing. But I was not planning on doing post-game stuff. I just wanted to showcase this game start to finish. But yeah, I do wish that there was more Paper Mario games in the style of, like, Thousand Year Door. Maybe there's some potential of that, what, with the whole Thousand Year Door remake on Switch that is stuck at 30 FPS for some reason. So, like, maybe they're shifting more towards that, but I know that at the time they were like, huh, we already have the Mario and Luigi games here now. Why would we have, like, 2 RPG series when we can just have, like, 1? Even though, at the time, like, Paper Mario was their home console games, and Mario and Luigi was always handheld, it wasn't home console. And Paper Mario, I think the only Paper Mario handheld one was Sticker Star, and unless you count Paper Jam. Yeah, I can't wait to play Sticker Star. Alright. I think things are mostly done when it comes to MegaLAN stuff now. I can go to sleep here, which I think I desperately need. Let's open a notepad here and do a recap of everything that went on here, if I can remember the journey of the past few days, which, again, to me, just feels like one mega long day. It's about to hit 10 p.m. here. Yeah, quite the adventure this was. I'll still put this in my MegaLAN playlist despite the fact that it's at home, because this is, you know, finishing off where I started at MegaLAN, and, you know,
the continuation of what I'm at sleep-wise of MegaLAN and all that stuff. So we did Paper Mario, or Super Paper Mario is what we did. We did a smidge of that. We did Super Paper Mario. And then we ended up hopping into some Helldivers, I believe. And then from there, we did the Assassin's Creed Valhalla pre-order bonus and season pass bonus missions. To clarify, Helldivers 2. And I believe that night was when I finished off Ghost of Tsushima. I brought my PS5 console out there just to play Ghost of Tsushima for like an hour and a half, or 2 hours, or however long it was. I don't remember. I'll find out when I cut it up into parts later. So I did Ghost of Tsushima, and then it was the following day. And hold on, out of curiosity, looking at the video producer here, yeah, here's where everything started breaking and stuff. So yeah, there's the Night Rain stuff before MegaLAN properly started there. So, live from MegaLAN, yeah, wow, it's just under 12 hours there. So I believe, man, this is gonna really add up in terms of hours, isn't it? Like, my goodness gracious. This was not my first stream of this. I don't think. Wait, what? I guess it was. Wait, what? Because, like, oh yeah, this is right at the beginning. Okay, yeah. Yeah, so we did Super Paper Mario for quite a while. A great many hours there. Like 5 or 6 hours. And then it was, yeah, then it was Helldivers. And then, yeah, Assassin's Creed Valhalla. And then from there, switching over to Ghost of Tsushima, which might have gone on longer than an hour and a half. And I finished that off. And then the following day, we did some more Super Paper Mario. Super Paper Mario was what we did here. And then I believe from there it was the Binding Blade stuff, so I did this for a decent while. And then I did my Last of Us 2 stuff that I was gonna do. Last of Us Part 2. No Return. The, like, roguelike mode. And then it was, oh, then it was like one Affinity mission while I ate breakfast. That first day of Xenoblade Chronicles X. And then it was Binding Blade, yes. Xenoblade Chronicles XD. And then it was Fire Emblem 6 trial maps. Wow, there's like a loose hair getting in my face here. And then it was like the Mario Kart as my stream was continuing to die. It was a Mario Kart 8 event. One lucky winner took home the trophy that I 3D printed for them there. Alright, and then this didn't go into, whoops, no, not that. I hate how this defaults to public now and not private like it used to. And then I think this might have just all been Mario Kart. Yeah, because I was switching, like, I was switching to a different thingamabob. I forget what software I installed to stream that. And then it was a 13-hour stream here of, what was this again? This is when we hopped into Night Rain. This was Elden Ring Night Rain. Getting my energy back talking about this. Hopefully my brain doesn't malfunction again, because, yeah, I noticed that I was saying a whole lot of random murmur stuff. Then we did more Super Paper Mario. Look at all that stuff with Mr. L and stuff. Then it was more Super Paper Mario. Ah, why itchy nose. And then it was a smidge of Final Fantasy VII. Final Fantasy VII. It was recruiting Yuffie. I guess my game's suspended there because I had it idle for so long. And then it was Dark Deity 2 for a smidge, doing some challenge maps there. Challenge maps. And then it was more Super Paper Mario again. Super Paper Mario. And then it was more of this. I went back and forth between these things a little bit when I needed to, like, wake myself up with something. So I did runs for a decent bit, and then it was more Super Paper Mario again for a decent while. Super Paper Mario. And then, after that, there was this, like, 5-hour stream that went up until, you know, the event ended there. So that was Super Paper Mario. Into I needed to wake up because I was actually falling asleep. So I did like one more run of Last of Us 2 No Return there. I think I did like 2 runs and that woke me up because I needed like the super concentration. So I did that, and then Super Paper Mario finishes it off. And that's a full playthrough of Super Paper Mario done. Littered all throughout here. Like, yeah, it's gonna be all over the place in this playlist, as often happens with, like, my main playthroughs I do at things. So this entire MegaLAN Adventure for MegaLAN 2025 comprised all this. This was the entire MegaLAN 2025 adventure. Yeah, that's a lot. It has probably been a long time since I've done this much during a LAN event. Because, wow. there was a lot going on during this one. I really wish that my computer wasn't freezing, that the Curse of HalloLand didn't rear its ugly head again during during the Mario Kart stuff here. That would have helped things go along a bit smoother. I do wish that like I knew what the proper end time was and I could account around that instead of, you know, accounting for it's going to be a little bit before 2 that's reported there, and then, you know, kind of running out of time there. But, you know, maybe it's good that I had like this session after the fact at home where I can feel free to just take my time and not rush out a review. And yeah, this was the MegaLAN 2025 adventure. I had a lot of fun going through a lot of games. This has severely worn me out. Again, I have been up, I guess, at least 27 hours now, with less than 3 hours of sleep the previous 2 nights. So I am feeling very out of sorts. My current physical feeling is a decent bit lightheaded, a little bit of a headache. My eyeballs have a little bit of like a sore, throbbing feeling almost. My knees still have that weird kind of feeling of weakness in them. And I don't really feel great. I still don't feel like sleepy immediately until I start dozing off and it's like, oh, surprise, I am sleepy. So I think I should get some sleep. Part of me, like, sometimes after events like this, I get home and I immediately start getting to work on this and cutting stuff up into parts. Not this time. I think that this might be the, 5 pop-up windows, what? Whatever. Either this or Extra Life 2024 is the most sleep-deprived I've probably ever been, so for the sake of my health, I should probably go get some sleep. So yeah. Next LAN event that we're going to be doing is going to be Fragapalooza 2025. That is going to be August... Fragapalooza. August 7th to August 10th, it looks like, is this coming up one. So this will be the next one that we do here. Going to be doing Smash tournaments and Mario Kart World Tournament I plan on doing. There's also going to be the Switch 2 coming out later this week that I plan on doing some stuff with. We'll be back at Fulton Place with another MegaFPS event this October for HalloLand, their Halloween LAN party. And the next time that I do Mario RPG stuff on this channel, it'll be Mario and Luigi Dream Team. Whenever that is, no time soon. So that's what stuff to look out for in the future related to LAN events and related to the Mario RPG stuff. I think I've said everything I needed to say. Don't think there's anything else here. If there is anything else, then I'll put it in like the description of these videos on the YouTube side of things. I will certainly do. I might just not set an alarm and just let my body sleep for however long it needs to sleep, potentially. Might not be the worst idea here. I greatly appreciate everybody that tuned into both the Super Paper Mario playthrough here or just the MegaLAN content in general. This was quite the weekend that, again, feels just like one long day for me. That is finally over, and I can finally rest now that the journey has been completed and all worlds are saved. So, until next time, take care, and see ya.